Welcome back to Ben's Top 10. And when I was a kid, filmmakers didn't try to make horror movies out of fairy tales. There's no doubt about it, I love wrestling. I love the action, the humor, the crazy gimmicks. I love almost everything about wrestling. Yeah, I know all the things people are going to say. Wrestling's fake. The matches are rehearsed. You're stupid. Yes, it's fake. Yes, matches are rehearsed. No, I'm not stupid. I'm on the superior honor roll to prove it. However, that's what makes wrestling so much fun. Since the matches are rehearsed, it allows the wrestlers to have their moves practiced, allowing the match to go smoothly. And it's not fake, it's staged. There's a difference. But what I love most about wrestling is the wrestlers. These are quite possibly the hardest working men in sports, period. There's no off season for them. They go all round year round. And it's the wrestlers that keep driving me back to watching wrestling programs. Now, the hardest thing is choosing my favorite wrestlers. I love a lot, and it's hard putting a list together, but I did it. So, get ready to be aching. Here's my top 10 favorite wrestlers. Number 10, Mick Foley. Quite possibly the toughest man in not just wrestling, but in every single type of media out there. Mick Foley is a wrestler who's gone under several names. Cactus Jack was a bad-to-the-bone gimmick that allowed Mick to express lots of anger in the character that resembled something of a Western outlaw. Dude Love was a hippie gimmick that I don't remember much from, and Mankind started out as a deranged psycho, but then became a humorous psycho. What I love about Mick Foley is he's mostly known for taking a lot of abuse. He allows stuff to happen to him that other wrestlers can't even bear to watch. He's been set on fire, branded, thrown into thumbtacks countless times, fallen God knows how many times, taken several chair shots, and has broken every bone in his body more than once. Yeah, he's one crazy son of a gun. But that's what makes him so awesome. On top of that, he writes books that are a continuing story of his life, and they're great books. Not only is he a great wrestler, he's a great writer. I don't even like reading and I can't put down a Mick Foley book. However, I put Mick so low on the list because most of his wrestling ability just comes from him getting hurt. Plus, a lot of his matches I can't watch all the way through because they are just too graphic. But Mick Foley is an amazing wrestler and one guy I wouldn't want to tick off. Bang bang! Have a nice day! Number 9, Rey Mysterio. Jr., that is. Rey is one wrestler that, when he wrestles, I can't take my eyes off of him. We all know Rey for being one of WWE's biggest moneymakers, and one of the only reasons I would still keep up with the company. However, if you ask me, he was at his best in WCW, dominating the cruiserweights and doing moves that were making audiences at the time go, whoa. What I love about Rey is he's quick and agile, and he gets more air than a pro BMX rider. That, and he wears a mask. Yeah, masks are cool. Seeing as how I'm a sucker for high flyers, I love watching Rey wrestle others his size, and blowing my mind as he does it. And that's why I hate his WWE run. They put Rey in the World Heavyweight Championship scene. For crying out loud, the man is a little over 200 pounds. This led to him getting the crap beaten out of him by bigger guys. What are they trying to do? Kill him? Anyway, Rey is a great wrestler that is at his best when he's able to blend his style with others that share his style. Seriously, WWE, what the nuck is wrong with you? Number 8, Eddie Guerrero. Straight out of El Paso, Texas. A wrestler that's a member of the legendary Guerrero family. Eddie was a big star in WCW, like a lot of talent that WWE likes to bury, and he was also a dominant force in the cruiserweight scene. However, he moved up to the mid-card, becoming a United States champion and TV champion. He soon moved to WWE and became a WWE champion. Unlike Mysterio though, Eddie is medium-sized, so he can work better with people bigger than him. Anyway, what I love about Guerrero is he is also a high flyer, but he is also an excellent mat wrestler. When he's tired of jumping up the ropes, he brings on the holds. When we get bored of the holds, he goes back to jumping. He's amazing. Not to mention, he had a comedic character. Every time he pulled jokes on someone, I always cracked up. Another thing Eddie is known for is lying, cheating, and stealing in his matches. A lot of times, his matches are won because he's good at convincing the ref that his opponent hit him with a chair. What a sneak. Eddie showed a lot of potential of becoming a really big star, but he sadly died in 2005 due to heart failure. Although he died young, he left a legacy that wrestling fans won't forget anytime soon. Viva la Raza! Number 7. The Great Muta. I love Japanese wrestling, so I had to include my favorite Japanese wrestler to this list. The Great Muta is possibly one of the earliest wrestlers to perfect fast-paced style of wrestling. He's also one who likes to bounce all over the ring and do several daredevil moves. Muta also made history as being the first Japanese-born NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Muta is so talented of a wrestler that even if he was put in the worst gimmicks or storylines, he didn't make them ruin his career. He survived jobbing to Ernest the Cat Miller, made it through the Dark Carnival stable. Nobody can bring down Muta. The thing that stinks is a lot of his matches aren't on DVD. The only DVD I know that has one of his matches is on the Starrcade Essential Collection DVD. If WWE can ever pull their heads out of their heinies, maybe Muta will get his own 3-disc DVD box set. I know he deserves it better than Randy Orton getting his own. Number 6. Booker T. Can you dig it, sucker? If you've been beaten up by Booker T, chances are you can't. Anyway, Booker T is one of WCW's most talented young guys, being a multiple-time tag team champion and holding several mid-card belts. If Hulk Hogan was never given creative control and didn't allow a lot of the old guys to step on all of WCW's talent, I bet you he would have been one of WCW's biggest names during the heyday of the Monday Night Wars. However, he finally became WCW World Champion in 2000. Sadly, it was too late, and WCW soon would be bought by WWF, where a lot of WCW's talent would be buried, and Booker T was fresh meat for The Rock. Anyway, what I love about Booker is he's also a great worker, and he knows how to move. Although he's lacking in mic skills, I get behind him when he's getting a crowd pumped. And, of course, there's the Spinaroonie. I don't know how to describe its awesomeness, but I think Mark Madden puts it best. Spinaroonie! 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 Bottom line, Booker T is another great wrestler that proves that there are no racial boundaries when it comes to wrestling. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Number 5. Jeff Jarrett. Whenever I talk wrestling to the few people I talk wrestling to, a lot of people don't seem to like Jeff Jarrett. They feel he should have never been a main eventer, he's annoying, and he sucks at wrestling. That really confuses me, but I'll get to that later. Anyway, Jeff Jarrett is a Tennessee guitar-swinging hillbilly with an attitude. That's his gimmick, and I actually love it. I don't normally like Southern characters, but I love Jeff's gimmick, and it never fails to crack me up. Jeff, for most of his career, has been a heel, or a bad guy. He's supposed to be making me angry. I'm actually cheering for him. He's just such a jerk that you actually love him. How can people not like him? He should have never main evented. That's an opinion, and why not? He's great on the mic, and he's good at getting a crowd mad. He makes a really great top heel. He's annoying. Again, he's a heel. He's supposed to annoy you. And he sucks at wrestling. Really? Again, it's an opinion, but he's a very good worker. Every person he wrestles with, he works well with. Then again, a lot of these people who hate Jeff are just WWE marks that hate him just because Vinnie Mac hates him, so they can't be taken seriously. Plus, another reason I love Jeff is he created TNA Wrestling, my second favorite wrestling company. I can never hate someone who creates something I love. Anyway, Jeff is a great wrestler, whose promos and vignettes are just as great as his wrestling. Now choke on that, slap nuts. Number 4, Goldberg. This seems like an odd choice to have him so high on the list, but I'll explain why. Anyway, Goldberg was one of WCW's biggest draws. Heck, he's one of the biggest draws in wrestling history. Having one of the longest undefeated streaks in wrestling, Goldberg is a powerhouse of pain. Almost anybody growing up during the Monday Night Wars know who Goldberg is, and most likely, everybody who's heard of him loves him, myself included. Wrestling ability, because he's lacking in that, but his build-up and character. For starters, he has one of the best entrances of all time. Police officers knock on the door to the room he's in, and he's escorted to the ring by the police. If the fact that this man is being escorted by police doesn't faze you, you're missing one soul. And there is his power. Although he doesn't know much moves, it's still fun watching him just demolish his opponents. I'm surprised a lot of his foes aren't dead after being beaten up by him. And when he's on the mic, he sounds like one mad mother trucker. This is one guy you don't want to mess with. And even though his career was short, and despite him not winning much belts, he's made an impact on the wrestling world. I love Goldberg, even though a majority of his matches are less than 10-minute squash matches. He's still an awesome fighter and not short of power. Who's next? Number 3, The Undertaker. Holy friggin' crap. It's going to be hard for me to describe how awesome this guy is. Anyway, The Undertaker has been a driving force in the WWE for over 2 decades and is known as one of the company's biggest stars. His main gimmick is that of a dead man who tries to claim victims, and he's just flat out evil. He's the definition of evil. Even when he's a good guy, he's evil. That's just how evil he is. And I love him for that. I just love his presence, his voice, and the things he does. He buries opponents alive, crucifies them, and sends them straight to hell. Love it. Anyway, Undertaker's wrestling ability is limited, but he's one that can keep a match more interesting as it continues because he's so hard to beat. And he's had some of the best feuds ever. My favorites are his with Mankind, Kane, Stone Cold, Randy Orton. Anyway, The Undertaker is another great wrestler and character, and my favorite WWE wrestler ever. Rest in peace. Number 2, AJ Styles. If you looked up the word phenomenal in the dictionary, you wouldn't see a picture of AJ Styles, but it should be there. AJ Styles is one wrestler that can do almost anything that you think he can do. Anyway, AJ is one of those wrestlers that doesn't need a gimmick. He's just a great wrestler. Plus, his wrestling ability has a wide variety. He's been a high flyer, a submission expert, and a brawler. And he's held every belt in TNA, minus the women's belts, of course. AJ's agility and his strength make him a tough opponent to beat, and an amazing man to watch. Every time I watch an AJ Styles match, I see moves that I didn't see him do before, and the matches only get better with repeated viewings. I could talk all day about him, but I really can't because he's just a wrestler that you have to see to believe. Bottom line, AJ Styles is an amazing professional wrestler, and in my opinion, TNA's best original talent. And my number 1 favorite wrestler is Sting. I know, kind of predictable, but who else did you expect? Anyway, Sting is probably the most well-known wrestler of all time. People who aren't even wrestling fans know who Sting is, and for good reason. Anyway, what makes Sting awesome is, of course, his wrestling ability. He's a great wrestler that has great feuds with Ric Flair, Vader, and of course, the Great Muta. And there is Sting's gimmick. Sting's first gimmick was that of a California surfer dude and was the biggest babyface of WCW in the late 80s and early 90s. This gimmick is pretty cheesy by today's standards, but I think he's a better face than Hulk Hogan was in WWF. Then, in the late 90s during the height of the Monday Night Wars, there came Sting's Crow gimmick. This character was a tortured soul that saw the foundation around him crumbling, and he became a dark angel to save it and exterminate the evil. Yeah, it was awesome. Anyway, Sting is great to me because he was what got me into wrestling. Seeing his face everywhere growing up made me fall in love with him. It was magic in the making. Bottom line, Sting is my favorite wrestler due to his wrestling ability and his amazing gimmick that never gets old. It's showtime! And they are my favorite wrestlers. And I know you guys are tired of my wrestling videos, so I promise this is the last one I'll make. Anyway, who are your favorite wrestlers? Comment below and we'll chat away. I'm Ben, and I'm signing out. I'm going to go write a good professional wrestling storyline.